The NBA season so far has been full of surprises, between the James Harden trade, the Heat and Mavericks slow start, the Jazz looking like the best team in the league, and the Knicks being somewhat competent. But what surprises me most is how some players are having a resurgence this year, and possibly saving their careers. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Phenom Media. Today I'll be talking about 5 NBA players having bounce back seasons. There's not a big criteria for this list except for the fact that all these players were pretty bad last year, but are playing pretty well this year. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, hit the like button and subscribe. Let's do it. Before I get into the 5 main players on this list, I want to talk about some honorable mentions. Steph Curry is coming off a broken wrist and doesn't look like he missed any time at all. He's still the best shooter in the league and he's helping the Warriors get back to their winning ways. Kevin Durant, coming off a torn Achilles, he's putting up monster stats for a stacked Nets team, and he's arguably the best player in the league this year. And finally, DeMarcus Cousins, who's had some pretty bad luck in the past few years in terms of injury. He didn't play at all last season, but the Rockets picked him up and he's playing pretty well so far this year. Alright, now let's talk about the main guys. Nicolas Batum is on the wrong side of 30, and for the past 2 seasons, he's shown signs of declining, and at some points it looked like he would have been out of the league very soon. The 32-year-old Frenchman spent his first 7 years playing in Portland, where he averaged 11.5 points and 5 rebounds a game, while shooting 44% from the field and 36% from 3 over the course of those years. He then signed what many believe to be the worst contract in the past few years, a 5-year, $120 million contract. His first 2 years in Charlotte were okay, but in the latter half of his contract, he was bad. Really bad. After last year, it didn't look like there was much hope that he would contribute to any sort of winning, but he's proving that statement wrong this year. Although 10 points and 5 rebounds a game isn't anything to brag about, it's much better than the 3 points he averaged last year. While starting every game that he was healthy so far this season, and playing 29 minutes a game, Batum has been incredibly effective. His shooting splits at the time I'm recording this is 48% from the field, 45% from 3, and 87% from the line. There was even a period of time early in the season that he was shooting 50-40-90. When PG and Kawhi are on the bench, the Clips sometimes use Batum to bring up the ball, or even use him as the pick-and-roll ball handler. He's added some solid defense and steady shooting to an already really good Clippers squad, and he's looking like he can be a pretty big part of a contending team. He looks re-energized on the court, and he very well may have just saved his career. The next player I'm going to be talking about is Victor Oladipo. The 2-time All-Star spent most of his career in Orlando and Indiana. Coming off a strong few years and being the 2nd overall pick in the 2013 draft, Depot was poised to become a star. When the Paul George trade happened, sending him to OKC, Depot landed himself in Indiana and got a chance to show what he was capable of, and that's exactly what he did. He averaged 23 a game on some pretty good efficiency in his first season in Indiana. It was also his first year as an All-Star, but last year it seemed like he took a step back. Over the past 2 seasons, he's only played in 55 games total because of ongoing injuries, and was given the label injury prone. Not only were injuries setting him back, but oftentimes it looked like he lacked the motivation to be on the court. Last season, it looked like he was a step slow and his conditioning just wasn't there. He had lost that moxie that he showed in his first season in Indiana, and it wasn't helping the team. But with the whole new season this year, he looks reinvigorated and better than ever. Granted, even though he's not that high flyer he was earlier in his career, he's playing so much better than last year. He's resorted to shooting the ball much more rather than driving, and it seems like it's working out for him. On the year to date, he's currently averaging 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists, with his best effective field goal percentage since his first season with Indiana. In addition to his improved play, he got traded to Houston so he can help contribute to keeping them competitive. It seems that Houston was the prime spot for second chances this year as they gave new life to John Wall, Boogie Cousins, and now Victor Oladipo. If the Rockets make the postseason this year, they could be a sleeper team that can make some real noise in the playoffs. But for now, Victor Oladipo is showing that he still has a lot left in the tank. The next player is Gordon Hayward. I don't think anyone foresaw the season that Hayward's having right now. The 30-year-old forward spent his first 7 years in Utah, even making an All-Star team, before joining the Boston Celtics on a $127 million contract. He never amounted to the player that the Celtics hoped he would be, but that's mainly due to injury. Everyone knows that awful ankle injury he sustained during his first game as a Celtic. He just couldn't get it going after that. After he healed from that injury, he simply wasn't the same player as he was in Utah. He was running slower, he didn't cut as well, and his overall athleticism was just really down from his previous years. You can't blame the guy, that's just what injuries do to a player. It was almost hard to watch him when he was on the court. He kept piling on injury after injury, so he could never develop a good chemistry with his teammates, so that didn't help either. After his 3-year tenure in Boston, he decided to sign with the Charlotte Hornets on a 4-year, $120 million contract. At the time of the signing, there couldn't have been too many people that said it was a good signing. The majority of NBA fans called the signing an awful decision, but thus far in the season, it's looking like a pretty good move. His stats are almost identical to his All-Star season in Utah a couple years ago, except for the fact that all his percentages are higher this year. It almost seems impossible what he's managing to accomplish this year. He's still not the bounciest or most athletic guy on the court, but he's doing what he can given his ability. This year, Hayward looks so much more confident on the court. He's shooting with confidence, driving with confidence, and he just overall looks so much more comfortable. The Hornets are using him as the pick and roll ball handler a lot this year, and he's been showing off his playmaking ability pretty well so far. Seems like a change of scenery is just what Hayward needed. Next up, we have Julius Randle. I never thought I'd say this, but Julius Randle has been playing on an all-star level. I won't say an all-NBA level quite yet, but his stats are there. The Beyblade himself spun-moved himself into a whole lot of doubt and hate last year. After a really good one-year stint in New Orleans, he signed a 3-year $62 million contract with the Knicks. At the time, it might have looked like an alright deal. The Knicks were in desperate need of a good player, they had a bunch of cap space, and Randle was coming off a great year. Unfortunately, he was terrible in his first year in New York. He did average 19 points and 10 rebounds with 3 assists, but his percentages were awful. He shot 46% from the field and 28% from 3, which is absolutely horrible for 1, a forward, and 2, a guy taking 16 shots a game. But for some reason, he looks like a whole new player this year. He's shooting the ball much better, hitting tougher shots, and being a better decision maker. It even seems like his defense is a bit better. He's more active on both sides of the floor and is being the leader that the Knicks hoped he would be. The Knicks still aren't terrific, but they're looking much better than in the past few years, and the improved play of Julius Randle is a huge reason for that. His footwork in the post is much smoother and his passing vision is significantly more refined than last year. I have no idea what his coaches or trainers did with him during the offseason, but whatever they did, it's working to perfection. Randle this year improved in almost every single statistical category since last season. If he keeps up these types of numbers, he could very well make the All-Star team. The final player I'm going to be talking about is Lauri Markkanen. Being only 23 years old at the time this video is being made, Markkanen still has loads of potential. In his rookie season, he immediately contributed to big numbers to an otherwise empty Bull squad. He dropped 15 a game on some pretty good efficiency, which was enough to earn him a spot on the All-NBA Rookie First Team. He took a jump in year 2 to average 19-9, but last year, his third year in the league, he took a step back. He averaged just under 15 points a game on worse percentages from all 3 levels, the field, from 3, and the free throw line. He took 3 less shots a game than the previous season, so that plays a small part in his scoring decline, but that doesn't explain the decrease in efficiency. He dealt with some injuries last year, playing in only 50 games, but when he was on the floor, he didn't look like himself. His shooting stroke was a bit off, and he lost a bunch of confidence. He'd go on cold streaks in his shooting, and he'd let it affect the rest of his game. This year, however, Markkanen looks refreshed. He's shooting the ball at a career-best 52% from the field and 41% from 3. He has his legs under him again, and his confidence is back. It seems that the thing he needed was the offseason to rest and work out the knots in his game. The new season came along, and he's shown incredible improvement, playing the best season of his career so far. As I said earlier, he's still young and has a lot of potential, but this was definitely the breakout season he needed. Well, that concludes today's video, you guys. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.
For more creative, informative, and high-quality sports content, make sure to follow Phenom on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, as well as all of the Phenom podcast channels for each sport. The link tree in the episode description includes a direct link to all of the aforementioned platforms, so click on that to access everything. Phenom boasts a team of over 100 youth contributors from around the world, covering every sport on every media platform. If you are interested in potentially joining the Phenom team as a writer or content creator, send an email to cole@phenommedia.net showing your interest. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so we can grow the channel. We really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.